views and opinions expressed on this podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not reflect the views or endorsement of any entity. Nothing being said on this podcast should be considered as investment advice.
Look at this.
Whoa.
This is the shock even to us.
We did not see this coming.
I had no idea there was going to be this massive wide shot of us. With
I like it, though.
This is real, by the way. This is cool. Not like Photoshopped in or anything.
So I saw this yesterday on Mao's tweet, and I was like, oh, sweet. They made this giant poster that's going to go behind us. This is a screen.
Yeah.
This is a digital display. Is an LED screen. It's pretty
like
amazing.
A massive canvas.
It's huge. I like it.
I asked Mao, do we know how much this thing costs? I know it's a rental, but like to get one of these in your house is just nuts. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff with it. There's like big ass server racks behind it and whatnot.
There's a lot. There's a lot going into making these three numbers and these 5 letters work. A lot of computation.
It's pretty awesome. All right. Well, this is 100 Proof, your weekly variety show that covers all things NFTs, including royalties going away and everything failing, which we'll get into today.
I'm more optimistic. We'll get into it.
This is going to be a fun chat.
It'll be good.
We've got, of course, Derek here from Cloud Currency.
Hello. Let's go.
Good to have you. We've got Amanda over here as well.
Hello.
Amanda is actually next to us. We can actually see and hear Amanda.
We can almost high five you.
We can almost high five you.
7 feet away, pretty much.
Yeah, I like it.
It's pretty awesome.
It's a good little spot.
It's good. We also got Eli on the show today as well. He's remote.
Go.
GM.
Oh, I noticed you changed your
back in
camera
Canada
view because you had your dog running around earlier. I wanted to show your dog. The weirdest tail ever. It's a good looking dog.
The dog is embarrassed after Kevin's comments, so we switched it up.
Oh, it's a cute dog. Haircut was a little tight for the summer though. All right. So we've got a few things that we got to chat about first real quick. Eli is going to have iconic artist Sam Spratt on the show.
I'm excited for
Couldn't be more thrilled for this. When you think about, in my mind, like blue chip top 5 artists right now, like Sam's 100% in that list, right? Like just absolutely legendary artist, and very excited to hear about his new project that he's working on and launching. So that'll be great. And then we're going to talk about OpenSea, the creator fee change that has happened.
Yep.
And also this new app that has been taking off where you can buy shares of people with Ethereum called Friend Tech, which we've seen this kind of model tried a couple other times before. This is one that you and I started messing around with. Yeah. You got me on it. You sent me an invite code. It was your financial advice for me to get involved.
Not true. So I think what's cool about this, and we'll get into it, is like, why don't we spend some time...
That was my phone. That was my phone dropping. Sorry. Keep going.
Why don't we spend some time unpacking why this thing is interesting and why people are excited about it. I think we should do it from that perspective.
100%. We also have some highlights from Grails 4, and then we are going to be doing a live Mythic giveaway. Amanda's going to be spearheading that one, which is going to be pretty awesome. Live Mythic Egg reveal and giveaway. So stick around for that. Follow us on Proof Podcasts on Twitter. I'm sorry, on X. Which is twitter.com/Proof Podcast. It's not x.com still. We can use that. Yeah, I guess.
I think it's x.com now. I
don't like the iOS icon change. They made it like edgy and stuff.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
It's a little Ed Hardy, which listen. There's a time and a place.
There's a time and a place.
So I'm into it, but like not. I don't think on my home screen.
Yeah, I don't like it either. We got our shoe game going on today. Look at that.
We do.
We got the full.
Can you tell us about yours? These are pretty sweet.
These are some when Virgil, the designer behind Off-White, passed away from cancer. Unfortunately, iconic, amazing designer. I picked up a pair of his Off-White shoes that he had still designed before a new designer took over. So these are just a pair of sneaks from Off-White, which I love.
Damn, Kev's always going to kill us in the shoe game.
No, you've got great shoes.
I got great shoes.
You got Tom Sachs on.
I got Tom Sachs on, but you always know how to take it to a different level.
We'll get you hooked up. We talked about creating our own shoes.
We did.
It was like
we did.
All right. Amanda, save us. We're off the rails on Friday per usual.
Kevin he's in a glitch mode.
I'm in a glitch
This
mode.
guy's got a new glitch. He's feeling a little sassy today.
Got a new Moonbird.
Talking shit on Eli's poor dog. Let's go. All right, so I'm here to gift away this mythic egg. I'm super excited. We like a little trivia. So we have a pre-mint link that we posted on Twitter and on Discord, X, whatever. So when we give that sort of like little hint for the password, then you'll be able to enter this giveaway. But what we're gonna do is actually like crack open an egg today. I'm super excited because I've never actually gone through the process.
Oh.
RIP, because I don't have an egg that's been activated. So I'm excited to kind of go through it. We have a runic egg, so we'll have two choices, and I'm gonna make Kevin and Derek pick the one that we give away.
Let's go.
And so I think there's a little significance in there, like, curated specifically by Kevin and Derek. This is your mythic egg. So I'm super excited.
Provenance.
It'll be fun.
Provenance.
Some provenance.
Eli
Let's
said
go.
it. It must be true.
We don't have royalties. We need something. We got provenance left.
All right. Yeah, I'm
awesome.
super excited.
Why don't you kick us off, Kev? You've been thinking a lot about this one.
Yeah.
Just
So
set the stage for
So
us.
OpenSea did an announcement, a tweet yesterday. We have a little copy of that tweet here, basically saying that the TLDR is that they're done with royalties. They're going to make them optional across the board. They say, hey, not everyone abided by the rules, and we're out. And so they are going to, I think it's they're doing this in two tranches. But in the next few months, all royalties are effectively zero because no one's going to pay them. That said, there might be some artists that say, unless you pay my royalties, you're not eligible for the next drop or whatever. But I just think that's such a weird thing. And it feels to me as though, at least for now, royalties are gone. And this really concerns me for a couple of reasons. One is that every startup in the last, let's just call it 2 years, since I put these in two major groups. Okay, well, three major groups. One, there's artists that launch NFTs that use secondary royalties for additional revenue streams. Right, that's great. They can make more art. I'm not saying this is obviously a lot of them were very excited about ongoing royalties, as one would be, but they can make more art. Okay, I think they're going to be fine, right? X copies still going to be selling X copies, right? Then you've got another group that is, PFP creators.
Yeah.
They raised money, and a lot of them were using the royalties to fund ongoing development, whether it be future collections. Some of them, gave away their initial NFTs. We gave away 2,000 of our Moonbirds completely for free. And so, there was this expectation that with royalties enabled, there would be this perpetual revenue stream that would fund a staff of people to continue to build for that said community, right?
Yeah.
Now that is completely gone, and don't get me wrong, the vast majority of it was gone, but you still had some newer collections that had royalties enabled. Captains had royalties enabled. There were some more modern. The new Mythics collection had royalties enabled because we were abiding by the rules.
Yeah.
Those revenue streams are now, when you have your financial projections for, say, call it the next, year, that entire line item just gets wiped off, right? And so you say that we can no longer count on that as revenue. You have companies that are well capitalized that keep teams small, and then you have companies that have actually hired up a shit ton of people, right? And so I'm worried that those projects are in danger of having to downsize, of having to reduce scope of things that they want to build. And then lastly, the one that I was really excited about is just this, also that was PFPs, but I also put clubs in there as well. So any of the major clubs that came out there that relied on secondary royalties. I mean, we were in this camp with the Proof Collective initially. Yes, we did sell, the initial passes, but then, over the last year, we've received almost zero royalties because everyone's just sidestepped the entire process, right? And so when you have something that you say, hey, I promised you for X number of years, it's going to be hard for some of these projects that didn't do proper cash management to be able to deliver on those promises. So I put clubs in there as well. And the last part was that the physical side of this piece was really exciting to me. And this was this idea that you could launch a pair of sneakers, you could sell the NFT, it would get traded and retraded. The original holders and warehouse of those sneakers would get paid to hold on to them and then ship them out to you. There was this new model where physicals could be attached to digital NFTs, and the royalties would be used to help, like, even store and ship
the
and
3PL, the fulfillment,
exactly,
all
fulfillment, all
infrastructure,
exactly, and now that's gone.
Yeah.
So fuck is a little. It's tough a tough pill to swallow right now.
Yeah. I'll also just to add, everything you're saying resonates with me. I think because such a big void is being left in the market around these revenue models and these business models, that I think a lot of artists, creators, clubs, platforms are kind of relying on. What we have seen across the space is a lot of different. It's been a lot of opinions on like how to solve this problem moving forward. We pulled up an Xcopy tweet here. He sent this out this morning. X's view is mint some one of ones to your vault, maybe hold back 20 to 50% of an edition, and this gets the job done. And as you need liquidity or you want additional revenue to come into the door as an artist, you can sell into the market given the work that you've put in. I definitely think that this is an approach that artists could have taken. I've seen this model work. Obviously, and he flags it's not as elegant as something programmatic, but it could service, some of the void, some of the what's left in this void here. I think there's other views. I know Sam Spratt, who's going to be joining us today, had a really great tweet as well. I don't know if you've got this up here, CT. Here it is. I'll just read it out. The only code I've ever found that preserves something like this is human honor and trust, and they are not given lightly. The world and these platforms owe us nothing. We can argue about fairness, about anything forever, but at a certain point, we have to take responsibility and create in a way that earns this ongoing support, a human connection where you've given enough to receive behavior that normally, for perspective, requires punitive force to bring forth in most other aspects of the world. That feels like a very Snowfro take as well, right?
It is, like that's and they're aligned, and I think this makes a lot of sense for artists. The stuff that worries me is what falls outside of this realm, right? Like when Xcopy said, for example, if we can go back to the Xcopy one, he said, hold some back and then you can sell them off. Can you imagine if Moonbird started selling some of our Moonbirds from our company vault for money?
Yeah.
People would be like, oh shit, Moonbirds has lost confidence in their project. We're out, right? You can tank the floor of a project if you are a PFP collection and you start exiting out to raise more funds. Now that might change.
Yeah, but standards might change.
Standards might change. But I think if anyone sells that is a company, it shows a lack of confidence in your future valuation.
It's different than an artist. I definitely take your point.
I also have a question. What do you guys think about? I think it's a really great idea when artists, hold back the collection. But in terms of I think with royalties or something about it kind of coming continuously in one way or the other, especially if they have some volume. So this idea of being able to hold back, I think it's a good one for a rainy day or retirement if you're not planning on selling anytime soon. But if you, if you wouldn't want to sell your art for a lower price than it is now, how do you feed yourself? How do you actually pay the bills? Yes, maybe royalties shouldn't be that, but it's an interesting way that I think I don't know how consistent artists can do that and what that actually looks like in practice. You know? Do you guys know of any artists who do that on any sort of consistent basis or anything?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. Most of the artists that I can think of, they go and they just create something new. They'll say, "Hey, I'm gonna do a new one of one," and then that brings in another 4 ETH.
This is, I think, the view that you're stating now, Kevin, is largely the view of how products and services and work and objects get created in the real world, right? We don't have programmatic royalties that flow back to anything that's created. When I buy a meal, or I buy an object, or I buy a video game, or humans have not been trained for programmatic royalties to exist for the things that we purchase and consume. This is really a model that, we had the design space by which to build that into the work that was getting created here, and there were standards that got created out of it. But to your point, there is a whole world out there that exists of like how products, objects, art can get created and sustain livelihood, businesses, the corporate function. And so there may end up being some of that injected into the void that's left here.
Yeah. There's no easy answer
There isn't.
here.
There isn't any easy answer here. I think where I'm at is we're probably going to see lots of approaches, and it's going to take time, and it's going to be messy. And maybe what happens, Kevin, to your point, is that clubs and PFPs converge on one model. Maybe that's incentivized royalties, and maybe royalties are closer to 1% or 1.5%, something that the market is willing to bear. Maybe artists converge on withholding back some of the supply. Maybe we see this design space of products and services get created on an ongoing basis without, relying on royalties, much like the real world, the physical plane that we exist. So my view is we'll probably see a lot of experimentation. I'd love to see some convergence over time.
Yeah.
But this isn't easy.
I think the club thing is, in taking it back to the real world, for example. So there's a club in Napa that's a winery club called the Napa Valley Reserve, and it's a really awesome, like, high-end club. And the way there's an application and all that stuff like any typical club, and you give them a deposit, and they take that deposit, and then they'll go and put it in bonds or whatever they decide to do. And yes, there are ongoing kind of membership fees and whatnot, but if you ever decide to exit down the road, you get that deposit back. And so, a la Basic with the latest drop, I think that there is ways in which NFTs can be sold as a deposit and then yield come off of that staked Ethereum and be paid back to the artists and back to the platform, right? And so at any point, you can always exit back out, get your deposit back out, destroy that asset. There's something there, but then again, now you're saying, okay, well, how long is Ethereum going to actually have yields? What are the yields going to be over time? If the yield drops to 0.5% or 1%, is it really a meaningful revenue stream at that point for any artist? But I do like that model because it doesn't require churn to produce revenue. Yeah. Because if anything, like we'll talk with Sam and his collections, they're so sought after, they rarely change hands. Yeah. Because you just want to hold that. Like he's got some great long-term collectors, and it's almost like if you're the best artists are going to get probably the most penalized in a royalty world, right? To some extent, unless you have massive, PFP collections that have, turnover.
Yeah. No, all great points. This will be an evolving conversation. We're going to track this one closely as the weeks go by. But let's stay tuned and kind of keep an eye out on this. Yep.
Sounds good. All right, Derek, story number 2. You got me into this one.
Friend Tech.
I dropped my phone. I was so excited.
I'll set the stage. So what is Friend Tech? Friend Tech is, I'll do a terrible job. I'll probably butcher this, but very high level, Friend Tech is a place where you can follow content creators. And content creators can be your friends. Content creators can be people who just make, written content. I mean, today, the product, the platform is very primitive, but it's this idea that you can follow and subscribe to a creator. And that creator, as soon as they link their Twitter account, as soon as they Web3 auth in with an address or get one assigned to them, a bonding curve gets spin up around that creator that allows people to buy and sell into the curve in real time. And what happens when you buy into somebody's content creator's curve? You get to see all of the message that they want to send out to the group. You can have a conversation with the creator. Other people can have a conversation with the creator. But as a collector, as one of the owners, as the consumer, you actually can't see what anybody else is saying. So right now, there's some access control, some gating around the content that's happening on the platform. Now, right now, it's just text. And the way people are using it is mostly just AMAs, getting to know people, seeing how they think about the market or seeing what they're into or learning a little bit more about.
You can't really do an AMA though, right? Because no one else can see the question.
Yeah, so like what I've been doing, for example, on my Friend Tech is people will write me questions and then I'll copy their question, post it publicly to the whole group and then respond to it. I see. And so I'll curate the questions that are coming into me every day, and then like once a day or once every couple of days, I'll go through and spend 30 minutes and just answer a bunch of questions. And so, frankly, I think this is worth talking about because there's enough here where there's becomes some excitement around the product. And I think the ingredients that have made this special are, it's on layer 2. So you can actually have, when you're submitting a transaction, you're not paying an exorbitant amount in gas fees to be able to buy and sell into this curve. So you can actually trade in, dollars. You can buy into somebody's curve for $2 or $3 without the majority of that trade getting denominated in gas fees.
The bridging process was quite easy. What did it bridge to, by the way? wasn't even paying attention.
It's Base. So this is Coinbase's L2, which is built on the OP stack. And they've made it very easy to bridge. You can go to base.org and take ETH and bridge it to Base, and then send your Base ETH to the wallet that can fund your FriendTech buys. And when it starts, these bonding curves are, you can buy and sell into somebody's new curve at like a $2 or $3 or $4 or $5. It's like inexpensive to get started, which is like, we haven't really seen that with blockchain-based products in the past. So I think something about this being on layer 2 has unlocked something interesting around the design space. The second is, I think the bonding curve model we've talked about on this podcast a bunch in the past. There is something really interesting about a real-time bonding curve and the ease of just being able to buy and sell into the curve. And like the price that you're presented with always exists to sell, and the price that you're presented with always exists to buy, and you can either take it or leave it. And it's a very simplified UX to get exposure to an object or to to content or to whatever it may be. It's
almost like Twitter subscriptions, but powered by crypto and a bonding curve.
Yes.
Because Twitter subscriptions work very similarly. Where by the way, I actually have some codes that I'm giving away that we're going to put up on the screen here in a second.
Those are going to be gone in 10 seconds.
I have some invite codes. So if you can quickly copy these down and go for it, you'll be able to get in. So ready your browsers. Oh, they're there. They're up.
Yes.
By the way, Kevin,
go ahead.
We were in this prep call for 100 Proof, and I got the ping that that he had joined FriendTech, and I was just mad that you didn't even tell me before you joined,
dude.
And then the moment you joined, it was already too late. You're already like,
I'm not that expensive. How much am I right now?
I don't
0.1 ETH,
0.13 or something. I don't have that. I'm not made of money.
What are you talking about? You have a chromey squiggle.
Priorities. What do we got here? I actually haven't seen this UI. What is this called?
This is FriendMex.
Oh, CT is saying that this is a UI to see people's charts on FriendTech.
Oh, this is me right here.
This is you.
Look at that. And so you can see how my prices fluctuate a little bit. Some people
up and to the right.
Up and to the right. There. Does it say who sold me?
That's the worst part of it, is when you see your actual friends selling it.
Oh, for sure.
I think the first day, Derek, you said no hard feelings if you need to sell.
Yes, I honestly, this is just an experiment. I told it, like I looked this morning and I have about 30 people following me, and not one of them were my employees at Cloud Currency. And I was like, oh my God. So I posted to the chat and I was like, why isn't anyone following me? And a bunch of people had sold me. And I was
That's amazing.
I was like, all right, whatever. But like the truth is
I just bought some more Derek, by the way.
Let's go.
Yeah.
This is all an experiment. It's super fun. I think you mentioned this, Kevin, but only like play around with what you can afford to lose.
Yes.
This is like, we're so far off the risk curve here. So
yes.
But in terms of ingredients, I think this stuff is actually really important for us to talk about as we start talking about the unlocks that will make consumer crypto big. And there's one third one that I actually want to talk about, which is this is actually not an iOS app. This is a PWA, which is called a progressive web app. It's built in React. And what I didn't realize is you can actually get the same rough functionality of an app, including push notifications, building in this architecture, and bypass the App Store, right?
Yes.
And so, which is like
which is what we need for crypto.
Which is interesting when we're talking about crypto native payments, which so much of what we're doing here is based on, these economic rails where like rent seeking 30% of a transaction just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
And so that third unlock, I think, is quite interesting as well.
Yeah, I was using the Brave browser, which I use on my mobile phone, and it was like, hey, you got to move to Safari to make this work. And then you're right. You just slide up the share button and then say save to desktop, and it puts a little icon. You wouldn't even be able to tell at that point it's not a native app. I mean, they're pretty responsive at this point. So yeah, it's pretty cool. CT, can you go back to the Twitter we're showing FriendTech real quick? Set of curiosity. Yeah, you're not following them, which I thought was weird. Anyway, just something to point out there.
I
CT's
also
always.
That's smart, CT. Don't follow any big accounts who don't follow you. Like, I get it. By the way, I want to say, kind of related to this like artist royalties thing, make sure that you also own some of your shares, because you want to make sure that you get it early so you don't have to spend to buy your shares. So if you
do you get? I don't know. I didn't actually.
You get one of your own.
You
shares.
get one of your own shares to
you
start.
have to buy one, but you
no,
should
it's free.
Oh, it's free.
Yeah, when you
it
sign up, you
starts
get
off as
one of your own shares.
Got it.
Yeah. But
Cool.
you should buy more just in case.
I don't. Yes, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously like regulatory surface area around this stuff. I mean, this is so weird. This is not like what
You think?
the SEC, the Securities Act of 33 or 34. It was like not contemplating friend tech when it was written 100 years ago. So this is some weird area that we're now finding ourselves in. So I urge people to tread cautiously, play around with it, experiment. Like really
this is like a $20 kind of thing.
Don't,
you put in a few bucks and you're like, hey, what is this new tech all about?
But this is how I have found like spending $20, $50 on things over the last 5 years is like how I can understand where interesting things are starting to emerge around crypto and Web3. And so it's really important to just put yourself out there and explore and experiment to understand like, okay, are there ingredients here that can create an application that 100 million people can use?
Yeah, it is. It's very cool that I like experiments like this, and I agree with you. We'll see more of this in terms of these types of applications that are sidestepping the App Store.
Yeah.
I love that CT put in our little notes here. We have a little lower display saying, it's not my account today, it's Proof Podcast. So sorry, CT, didn't mean to call you out. I know there was a whole Beeple debacle when you weren't following Beeple. So, all right, let's move on to the next story, though. Eli.
Yes, let's go.
What's up, Eli? Let's go.
Let's talk Grails, yeah?
Yeah, let's talk Grails quickly. I mean, we wrapped up last Friday, and I think it was a pretty special moment, both the reveal and the celebration and the opening of the physical exhibition. You know, the thing that I'm most struck by finishing up season 4 is something that I'm increasingly interested in, which is sort of this notion of collecting digitally but experiencing physically. And this was the first time we really had a physical exhibition where both collectors and artists could find themselves in front of the work from Grails and have a conversation with each other as they look at and observe the work. And so that piece felt quite special. We also had this Grails patron wall this season in the physical space at the Foundry, again, sort of bridging digital collecting with a presence in a physical space. So someone who couldn't be there themselves, had a piece of them in that space on Friday and through the exhibition. Wall?
Or
we do on my Twitter somewhere. It exists. It's pretty cool.
Yes,
right?
For people
like
that don't know, it's an actual physical wall that we had created here at the space. Here it is. We can show it up there. Kind of awesome that we could put everyone's names up there and people walked in to see who were the Grail holders over time.
This is a great idea, guys.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, Derek, I saw someone tag you say, hey, at Glitch, let's get the full set.
It got the wheels turning in my brain a bit. But yeah, you guys are really you guys are always pioneering some cool stuff, and this is something pretty special.
So crazy that he's actually
Amanda,
up there.
I'm sorry that you have to look at me
no,
in that
cool. You're on a screen behind us, which is just a trip.
Wait, how do I point down at you guys?
Other way.
There we go. Look at that.
God, that's so crazy.
Amanda, what stood out to you with season 4 of Grails?
You kind of took my answer with the Grails patron wall. I think it really was, kind of amazing. One of the other things that I thought was really cool is watching how many new Moonbirds wanted to kind of jump in on the fun and seeing a little bit of that like FOMO. How many people, this was one of their first Grails and were super excited to participate. How many people were like sort of like blessed by just picking the art that they liked and it ended up being something really incredible. Like that was really cool because I really feel that this time around more than ever, people just went for the art they loved. So that was really, really cool to see that, a lot of the aesthetic ones or the ones that people liked ended up being, valuable in one way or the other. So it was just a a blast. And the live reveal was also so much fun. Husband came, he got to see all of this craziness. It was a lot of fun. So it was a blast. So
It's awesome.
I had a really fun. Well, so I have a strategy here. I'll share it with everyone. So my strategy is never to buy on the reveal.
yeah.
Because there's a lot of hype,
Yes.
you know, and you see these really high prices.
Yeah.
And this is just real talk. Like and so
Teach 'em.
I wait a couple days.
Yeah.
And I put in a half a ETH bid for this center one here. If we can pull it up, die with most likes.
Yes.
And
beautiful.
it got accepted. And so I picked up a die with most likes for a half a ETH.
I love this
So
one.
cool piece.
And dude, I got to
Love
tell
it.
you, out of all of the different artists that we had on, don't get me wrong, they all have varying different degrees of talent. I'm not talking about talent, but in terms of just pure just personality
Yeah.
and just like comedy and like just like someone where I'm like, I want to go grab a beer with this guy.
Yeah.
Die with most
Yes.
likes was amazing.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't seen that clip, go back and go back and watch it. It was hilarious. And this piece is gorgeous. I'm
It's so
sorry.
good.
It's really awesome.
My husband is now the biggest fan of Die With Most Likes. He's following him on Instagram, and he keeps sending me weird ground beef texts now. Like I'm
Nice.
like, okay, I just need to go to Walgreens. Can we just? But he's like obsessed with him. So I think that there's something about Die With Most Likes that everyone really loves.
Yes.
I love that we're actually going to give away the physical that we have here
Yes.
at Foundry.
That's a print though,
at
right?
The end. It's a print. It's a
Okay.
print.
Correct.
Physical
Yeah.
print. Yeah, not the actual.
Yeah.
Not the actual one.
Is he?
but
We're gonna
it's
give him to
beautiful.
sign it though. Yeah.
We should figure something out. What
We
do you
should.
think,
If
Eli?
you can do it and pull it off. Eli's good.
Yeah, we'll
like
figure
that.
something out. That one maybe not, but then he does have the actual physical that was the base of this one. So maybe we'll figure out something with that one.
Don't
ultimately as well.
I've
Kevin
already
wants all the
approached him
Grails.
trying to buy it from him. I literally sent him a DM. Was like, "Do you want to sell the physical?" Because
Nice.
like it's so dope.
It is awesome.
Yeah. All right. So
But yes, and as we look ahead to season 5, a couple of things to note. We've mentioned maybe that December Art Basel Miami timeline is something that's interesting. That could be a lot of fun. And then the last thing I'll mention is, we had this notion of a full set holder, someone who owned a piece from all prior seasons of Grails. That feels like something we will continue to probably integrate as we move forward. So already planning and thinking about season 5.
awesome.
Let's
I
see, a
love
week after season 4.
a couple things to say here. We've obviously gotten beat up. Had a little bit of like a sad moment here at the beginning of the show around royalties and where NFTs are going, and we've seen a lot of like floor prices tank, and it no doubt art is alive and well
Yes.
in NFTs, and it's
100%.
not a fad. It's durable. It's here. And highly, like, if you're watching this right now and you have yet to go and see the latest season that we put out around the video of these artists, don't do it for proof. Go watch it for the artists, because there's some amazing artists that we highlight. You'll get to hear their stories. They take us inside their homes oftentimes, and it's a really fun video. Have it running in the background when you're doing something else. It's a little over an hour long.
No,
but
the
it was,
videos are incredible.
It was amazing.
There was a couple. I remember. I'm trying to get Mao to get basic on this show.
We're gonna do it.
Are we really?
I mean, that's the plan. We're gonna try.
Let's go.
In the next couple weeks, we're gonna figure it out.
Amazing.
With
Okay.
the anonymous voice and everything.
I don't know how we're gonna do it.
That
I mean,
anonymous
I'm gonna
voice
have
was
to be
so
sitting
intense.
over there and then sitting here.
But for the
Wait a second. Wait a second.
for the basic one, for the basic video, I was just like, this is awesome. This is so cool. So the videos were really
that was
well
a
done.
great edit. Matt did a great edit.
Everyone crushed it. The videos are definitely worth watching. Yeah, you guys crushed it.
Awesome. Yeah. On to the next one, Eli. Good luck with that, man. That's I know it's a massive effort for you and your team, and
Let's go.
can't wait to see who the next headliner is. Sam Spratt for the next one. So one can dream. All right,
Yeah.
let's talk Mythic Egg giveaway.
All right, so we are going to start our artist spotlight real soon. Eli's going to be talking to Sam Spratt, and so to kind of celebrate that, we are going to have our password hint be about Sam. Sam Spratt, he is famous for his project Skulls of blank. What is that word in the blank? It's got to be all caps, all right? It's one word, all caps. Make sure you spell it correctly. to enter that pre-mint raffle. So if you want to get the link, it is on Twitter. It's in Discord. I'll drop it in the chat for YouTube. Get in, and then we will do a raffle. It's 24 hours, and we'll announce who the winner is tomorrow. But today we are going to actually reveal the mythic. You'll see which one you will get if you win. So I'm super excited for this.
I always spell this one correctly, but I have a hard time pronouncing it correctly. I just get it confused in my head for some reason, but I know how to spell it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into it. Are we ready to do our interview? Eli, are you good to go?
Yeah. Let's do it. So we're going to start
trailer,
by watching. Yeah? That's right. Yeah. Let's start with the introduction to the Monument game. CT. Wow. Okay. So Sam, welcome, man. That was pretty incredible. I've seen it now a couple of times, but each time I watch that, it hits different. Thanks so much for coming on the show, man. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you, man.
All right, so let's. We're definitely going to talk about the Monument game, no doubt, and peel back some of the layers there. But let's go back in your history just for a moment, Sam. I've heard you mention this notion of having a moment of being untethered, and perhaps sort of that representing a before and after for you as a creator. Can you talk a little bit about that before period of your life as a creator and some of the work you were doing, and then what that untethering moment meant for you as you then went into that next phase of your creative journey?
Absolutely. So I have about a 10-year history as a professional artist. My very first gig was making about $20 a pop, working for a tech blog, doing editorial cartoons, essentially. Leveraged that into some jobs for gaming, film, television, doing album covers for Logic, Kid Cudi, Donald Glover, Janelle Monáe, working on games like Red Dead 2, and had a pretty stacked, solid client list. Definitely paid the bills, and did that for about 10 years, and let, I think, in that process, a nice cocoon of ego built around me, of people saying, hey, I saw your thing on Spotify. I dig this. You're doing a good job. Keep going. Fire emoji, something like that. And I was an artist the whole time, but I essentially entirely missed the point of what being an artist is. I had nothing to say myself. And a big part of that is because I spent those 10 years largely a shut-in, alone in my room working, chasing the carrot at the end of the stick that was money and clients, and not going out, connecting myself to the world, the network. And when a bunch of different things all went wrong all at the same time, I had not only that 10 years of missing the point as an artist to reckon with, but also about 10 years, well, maybe 30 or so actually, of missing the point of what it is to be human, to feel your own mind and your body, how to be a friend, how to be in a relationship, everything.
Got it. And so on that untethering moment, some of that came to light. And I'm curious, was it in that moment and then in the time following where you transitioned from maybe telling other people's stories and world building for others, and then sort of recognizing that you had your own story to tell? Is that accurate? Maybe you could peel that back a little bit.
100%. Yeah. It's exactly that. As when you spend your whole life kind of hiding behind other people and doing their creations for them, you learn a lot. You stack up some skills, some abilities, some know-how of what they've done before you. But the downside of it is that you are lost in the process, and you sometimes, in my case, don't really know who you are or what you have to say. So Luci has been not only my first attempt at expressing what that is, finding out who that is, but pretty much every single painting project that I release within it is an episodic marker of, all right, I messed up. I missed something the first time around, but I'm trying again. Here's the show.
Got it. And Sam, let's double click into that just for another moment. With Luci, are you telling your parts of your own story, or are you trying to tell sort of a human story, something that maybe you observe about humanity, or is it very personal and these are parts of you that you're expressing?
It's both. It's born from violence in my own life and stitching my own world back together, for sure. But I think that part of stitching it back together has been a deep recognition that I missed pretty much every very obvious bit of information, knowledge, wisdom that all of human history has laid out before us to try to help us along to live solid lives. And I think if I could miss that, I'm sure others could miss it. And I think as we've all found ourselves into this strange intersection of art, commerce, gambling, degeneracy, I think there's a lot of people who missed something. Even if they succeeded on metrics that most people have commonly agreed on, I think I have definitely found my tribe here among people who are lost in their own ways, just as I would.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sam, let's talk about sort of the different dimensions of Luci. And the way that some of this evolved, and the hierarchy and the bonds between these. So tell me if this is relatively accurate, and then you jump in. So you had a one-of-one that you were selling, and ultimately anyone who bid on that piece received the first skulls of Luci as a so-called bidder's edition. Is that where things really kicked off, and then you distributed more skulls subsequently while also releasing one-of-ones? Talk us through a little bit sort of that hierarchy and your very much meritocratic distribution of your NFTs. That's a hard word to say.
For sure. So close. The first three pieces, first three one-of-ones, Birth of Luci, Lullabies for Isaac, and First Sacrifice, were part of what constituted Luci Chapter 1. and so everything is episodic. The painting before it is connected to the next and back, and so on and so forth. So with chapter 1, I spent about a year making it, as well as observing the space, just kind of quietly stocking it. And I would see these auctions that would take place, and there was this artist, which is a source, a collector, a destination. But there's this whole amazing story that would unfurl that was the bid history. And so the utilization of that, of anyone that entered into this auction, anyone that paid a gas fee, I would essentially, as a thank you, as gratitude for helping give me a little push for my very first steps into the space to make my own world versus other people's. Look, you're giving me some ETH, you're paying into the network. I will spend the time to paint something for you. This is, at this point, my work has no value placed on it yet. I have not, there's no market movement or anything like that, as they were my Genesis pieces. But it was, at the very least, a way in which I could take energy someone gave me and return it to sender in a way that only I know how.
Mm-hmm.
So we had about 40 or so bidders that first time. So I ended up painting 50 skulls in total, as each of the 3 collectors got 3.
Interesting. And I don't know that I've heard you, I'm sure you have somewhere, but what is the origin of the skull in your world?
Yeah, so conceptually within the story of Luci, as I've expressed to the council, everyone that holds these, is they are the many little deaths that we have along the way. I think everyone experiences these moments of an attempt failed and a rebirth, and they kind of rhyme with each other. They look similar. They occupy the same form and husk, but we all have one thing unique about us. And so to take that, those who entered into this for me, for my very, very first steps, to imprint one thing similar to each other, but finding a link between us was the intent.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I've mentioned this on past podcasts. I love how intentional you've been about your community building. You have this core group, the council, who holds the Skulls of Luci. And now with the Monument game, slightly expanding or maybe creating this outer circle that lives around that core council. Talk about, how do you think through community building and expansion of your collector base? You've been so thoughtful. You could have done an open edition. I'm sure I've asked you to do Grails. You could have done any number of things. Talk about how you sort of conceptualize and plan expansion of your community.
Yeah, I think it starts with just being gracious to the beautiful things that have unfurled, right? So those first 3 collectors gave me not only money, which buys you time, gives you space to breathe, to think, to move, but also gave me confidence. And so I shut out my whole life prior. I rejected all the album covers for future clients, working on other games, things like that. And I was like, I just want to do this. Let's see what this can be. And I think that when you are provided with these rare things that are not painful, but are actually hey, you fucking go, keep going. You got to take that and do something with it. And it's kind of your responsibility actually to take that, not to, all right, I sold something, now let me sell another thing. I created something, now how do I grow? And so the council, how I move, how I think about all of these systems, and especially within the Monument game, is how can not only I rip and tear myself to grow in the process of its creation, but how can I even take those who have supported me and not give them free stuff, but rather pull something out of them, make it so that their interaction with my world is a deep one. They have to think, they have to contribute, they have to judge, give time, they have to take some responsibility to be a part of it, rather than utility.
It's so interesting, Sam, because I think that works in your case, at least from my perspective, because you've been able to keep that total number of members quite small and knit. At scale, it becomes quite challenging to ask people to do really thoughtful, deep work and have almost everyone do so. And so I think in your thoughtful community building and curation of that community, it's worked so well, clearly, which has been interesting to see. I want to take a quick tangent, Sam, and then let's focus on the Monument game.
One note on that, though, man.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing because you're correct that while it's small, it's easier to handle. But I think, and this is a conversation that I've had with Snowfro, actually, because he knows this very well, is to grow, but to understand the growth as you are experiencing it, meaning to build rungs in a way that you have a grasp of what the responsibility or mantle of a certain degree of more people around you actually means before you create 10,000 of them. There's something to that as well.
Yeah, well said. It's a great point. Okay, just quickly, given time, Sam, I want to jump away for a moment, then back to the Monument game. When you think about your work, how would you like to see someone engage with it, and what are the environments you'd like to see it show up? Meaning, do you desire to see your work in museums and physical galleries, or are you happy or maybe even desire for it to be mostly consumed digitally? Do you have a sort of perspective on how someone would engage with your work and where it would show up?
So I think, and this connects directly into what the Monument game is, but for me, about a year ago, I released the 7th painting in the Luci series, Worm Food, which sold at Christie's to Kazomo. And while I was making that, even though I was very proud of the painting, I still love it very deeply. I felt, after having been painting for 15 years, I felt almost like the profound limitations of it. And I think for a painter, there's this natural inclination of, okay, well, maybe if I did something in 3D, or I made it move, like an animation, or, oh, it's a sculpture now. All right, what if it's AI or painstakingly handcrafted? That's the next advancement. And I think being in the space and experiencing these bonds like the skulls across a network revealed to me that there is actually a very different trajectory that art can head in, which is communal and participatory. And for me, that is a brutal realization, because it essentially means that image making, the thing I've been doing my whole life, is not enough. It's done, right? It doesn't mean it's not loved or cared for or important or special in some way, but that it can't contain the story needed. Like we have to participate in it in some way. And that's where the Monument game was born from. So whether that's in a physical space or a digital space, I think so long as it facilitates this concept, not of, hey, here's just a beautiful image, but here's something that you are explicitly designed to connect and even collaborate with.
Let's use that as an entry point to talk more deeply about the Monument game, Sam. Give us, maybe both the sort of high level mechanics of how this is working with the players and that initial distribution from the council to one additional player each. Talk us through some of those mechanics, and then maybe also sort of your intent with the entire project.
Absolutely. So the Monument game is something that we are building with Nifty Gateway, and we've been working on it for the last year. What that means is we have essentially built an entirely separate platform that is being built on top of Nifty and is taking it over during the duration of the Monument game. It is centered around one painting. This painting is titled The Monument Game, and it is something that I've been working on since I created Worm Food over the last year. It is the most intricate, dense, and complex thing that I've ever made. It is something that I spent months just writing stories and weaving them together, storyboarding how they flow and move into one another before even a sketch was created. But that painting can't really exist just on Twitter or on a marketplace, right? There's too much that has gone into it. It would be wasted in that space, right? There's a reason a giant painting needs a museum to be displayed, and it usually needs a bench in front of it to consume it. So to create that digitally meant I needed to create an entirely new platform. And Nifty, of all places, was actually very interested in doing this. I sat down with Duncan Cockfoster, and he greenlit it before he exited Nifty and put about 15 people and developers on it, front end, back end, protocol, UI, UX, to essentially create a digital viewer for this one-of-one. Something you can zoom and pan around as easily as the Photos app on your phone, but that you can also annotate atop of. You can leave an observation of what you find as easily as like writing a tweet. Mm-hmm. But in order to do that, I also, having created these skulls and these one-of-ones, started thinking about what does an outer rung look like? As you kind of alluded to, these idea of like an open edition. All right, yes, of course, a Luci open edition, suddenly under the guise of accessibility and affordability, could go out to 10,000 people, probably clear a good chunk of change. But what do I do with that? Truthfully, like I couldn't honestly answer it. And I don't see my life as I'm going to cash in the moment I first experience something I really, really love and enjoy doing. Now my life is, how do I make my entire life this? How do I grow not just from this moment, but forward? And that requires smaller steps, but intentional ones. So that one-of-one, there's also a ticket, 256 tickets, which begin as entries to observe, to leave a written description of what you see, what you feel, a piece of yourself to put on top of the painting. And then at the game's close, when the auction for the one-on-one ends and the observation window ends, which is August 24th, then they are minted as my very first edition work. So 256 editions. But what is special about those is that the metadata, the trait data, the description is the observation that was left by the player. And so at that point, they now have this edition, right? And that on its own is great, cool, good.
It's beautiful.
But the Monument game is a game, right? Thank you. It is, by being a game, in my eyes, you need a reason to play. In being in this space, though I maybe exist more on the art end of it, I am fascinated by the people who are playing all kinds of little games within NFTs and crypto. And I thought, well, what if we could just kind of take a little bit of that and make something that actually promotes what in my eyes is more interesting behavior. And so the moment you collect this ticket, it is really a wasted transaction if you do not give a piece of yourself to the painting, right? Because you are playing to win. And what you're playing to win for is these 3 skulls of Luci, right? So this is what Kazomo, Barat, Vince, Snowfro, like an incredible group of some of the space's best hold. And these 3 seats on the council are voted on by the council. So all of my existing collectors are the voting body who will determine who joins them. And what is most valuable to them and to me is not buying them, right? These things were born as gifts. It is your observation. It is what you leave on top of the Monument game. And this game, these 4 pillars of the painting, the game, the tickets, and the reward form what I believe will be deep interconnected links between my one of one, my Skulls of Luci, and now the players. Where these, right, the one of one is the object of attention. It's what everyone's pointing their mimetic energy at. The Skulls of Luci are the object of desire. They're the community wrapped around it, the tightest little group. And then the players, there's pathways in for them. And thinking about these pathways is very important to me, because I'm not interested in this idea of airdrops, free things. It feels unintentional. It feels careless. It feels like a giveaway, as the kind of thing that you would see an ad for on a TV show. But if there is a way to give things away that is meaningful, then I'm interested. So what I did was I gathered the council around, and each one of them, I said, I'm going to give you one of these tickets. And now you can't keep it. You got to give it to someone who you believe in, who you love or support, an artist you think is just amazing, whatever. But it's your choice. My finger is not on the scale here, right? You make that choice. And by doing so, involve them in the creative process. And by involving them in the creative process, they've now fulfilled one responsibility. And then their second is to place a vote to see who joins them in the end.
I love it, Sam. And only one of us on this show was selected, Mr. Derek Edwards over there. so lucky him by Snowcrow, which is a beautiful selection. Yeah. Well, Sam, I mean, this is just a continued expression of your thoughtfulness and the way that you're building through meritocracy. There's so many layers here, and just so that we get the details right, on August 21st, which is Monday, the sale begins for 209 player tickets. Is that right? And then observations close on August 24th. Just give us those couple quick dates and anything people should keep in mind going into next week.
Yeah, so you got it. August 21st, earlier in the day, the collector of the IOU for the one allow list spot, which was PTM, he will be getting in there. He won the Christie's auction. We gave he bought it for 19.5 ETH, donated all the proceeds to MAPS for psychedelic research and psychedelic assisted therapies. And so he'll be getting in first. He basically will have keys to the castle before anyone to leave his observation. Once his observation is left, then at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, it will open for everyone. What that means is the one-of-one auction that everyone is viewing will open, but also the ability to purchase a ticket, which, because this is Nifty, can be done via your Nifty balance, Apple Pay, card, or ETH, obviously. We default to that. And there are 209 available because all the others were chosen by either council members or constitute the one collected by PTM. And then they will have 4 days from August 21st to 24th to sit with the painting. Like, get in there, look around. This isn't a game of Where's Waldo. It might look like it at first, like, what's this little code over here? But what I hope is that with enough of a carrot at the end of the stick, that someone will slow down, stop the scroll, and through the intentionality of their purchase and the understanding that their purchase will kind of be worth less than all the others if they don't give their all to it and play to win, that they leave something that is a genuine, honest to God piece of themselves, their lives, something that they could contribute written that no one else could. At games close, August 24th at 7:30 p.m., it will close the moment the one-of-one auction, which is a manifold auction actually, embedded within Nifty Gateway. Once that closes, the game will close, observation window will end, and then the council will begin and deliberate. It's at that point you will actually own this edition. You have nothing to trade during the game once you've collected this. It's at that point that you can trade it. However, one thing to keep in mind is that if you do collect this ticket and you are perhaps more a trader or flipper or something to that effect, if you trade your ticket away while the council is deliberating, and that was selected as the winning observation, you will have also traded away your ability to win the game and claim the skull.
I love it.
And the reason for this is it is these observations which are what is valuable to me.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait, Sam. I know even absent a ticket and not being a player, one can view the work and I think view the observations. So that might be the role I play as a spectator. Cannot wait, Sam. I know, Derek, you, Kevin, you as well. You've been longtime fans of Sam and now the Monument game. I know we will all be watching very closely.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, can you hear us?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, one just last quick question from my end, and then Derek, I'd love for you to ask one as well. You know, one of the things that always is really strikes me about your work is just that level of detail that you can, like, to your point, you can zoom in and just really see the effort and work and attention to detail that you put into these pieces. With this NFT. Will there ever be a physical print with it? Like you mentioned, having a bench in front so you can sit and watch and just observe and take it all in. Have you thought about that? And then also, what's the resolution of this file, just out of curiosity, to get a little geeky if someone wanted to reproduce it?
Yeah. So within our viewer, the painting is 20,000 pixels. So we have worked very hard, the engineers at Nifty, to get that 20,000 pixels performant and snappy, where you can zoom and pan around it. And that's pretty dense on its own. The actual painting is actually 30,000 pixels. So you could print this 35 feet wide, and it would be at a very, very high fidelity.
That's amazing. Wow.
God, that's so cool. Rarely will.
It took a year to make, so
amazing. Very rarely will I feel just compelled to kind of like want to spend time and attention and dig in and like activated around a project or a game. And I'm honored to participate. I'm ready for the challenge. And
that video, man, that teaser video, I was just like, take my ETH. Like, this is amazing.
It was so well done. And I think the attention to detail and the work itself that you're flagging is clearly coming across in the full game experience that Sam's created here. So I'm excited to step into the arena, Sam.
Derek, it's an honor to have you. Eric spoke incredibly highly about you when he selected you, and to the rest of the council, explained how much he's learned from you in the process over the years. So thrilled to have a brain like yours in the mix. And you got to throw everything at it if you're going to make something. So we did for this.
Love it.
Everything.
Very cool. I especially love how, you're an artist that's in a position where, to your point earlier, could do a 10K collection with the snap of your fingers and sell it out in 2 seconds. And just that idea of not taking that road and being really thoughtful about how you expand this in a way that's meaningful. It's applaudable for not going for the quick win as some do, as you know. So thank you for that as well.
Thank you. And I guess what I would add to that is also I've been able to watch and observe that, of people who took those steps before me. So it's not like I was early to this and instantly had that. I was able to observe other people's steps and missteps, watching what happens when the mantle of responsibility of 10,000 people is suddenly on you, and what happens. That's it. It's a reaction to people who took harder steps before me.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us. Always an honor to have you on, and you're welcome back anytime, please. Anytime you have anything to talk about, we'd love to have you.
Would love to chat more in depth, man. Anytime. Thank you so much for having me. Mal behind the scenes, Eli, Stevie, Derek, Kevin. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Have a good weekend.
Take care.
That was amazing.
Awesome interview.
Yeah.
Eli's getting really good at those too.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. I'm just kidding, Eli. That was an epic interview, man. He's so good.
Yeah.
He just like stepped into like hosting Grails and
Totally.
like the whole thing.
It's been awesome.
It's been awesome to watch.
And kudos to Sam. This is gonna be so much fun.
Oh,
we
dude.
got 3 days, 5 hours, 20 minutes, 1 second.
I want to see your heart and soul poured
I'm
into
gonna
this,
spend
dude.
quite a bit of time on this thing. I'm
Yeah.
excited about this.
Go out in the woods and do some mushrooms and shit and come back with something.
I won't be the same man when I return.
That's right. All right, let's do this. Amanda, you ready?
I'm ready.
AKA Stevie.
I am ready.
Ready to hatch.
Yes. I was supposed to share my screen. I did it.
Is it not working?
But they're switched over to me. I think that's fine. That's cool though. Are we good?
I think we're ready to hatch. Here it
yes.
is.
Here we go. We're ready to hatch. Let's go.
What if it
excited.
hatched to Sam Spratt? It'd be like, fuck.
I think it's gonna hatch the Fidenza. I think it's gonna hatch the Fidenza cloak that you wanted so bad, and then we're gonna have to just give it away. Okay, so as we said,
The winner is
we are
Ken
going
Rose.
to hatch this runic egg. So we're gonna kind of go through the process. I love this process. I think it's been really cool to just kind of watch other people do it, but we are gonna do it.
And a runic gives you two choices.
Yes.
And just a reminder, when you see these two choices, whichever one is not selected is gone forever. So that
Forever.
series and combination of attributes will never return in this lifetime.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Successfully burned. Oh, I'm excited.
Click
this
to
is
reveal.
so fun. All right. Do not refresh. Do
Oh yeah,
not.
this is that part where we have to wait for the blockchain to do some magic.
Yeah. Oh man.
We're on a L1, so this is going to be about 10 minutes. Just kidding.
I think it's cool to see the Shrine of the Unwoven, to kind of see that's the page that we call, where all the not selected mythics go to die. It's been kind of cool to kind of see the ones that people aren't going for. It's also funny because I feel like a lot of people's sort of default thing to do is to go for the ones that have the legendary tags. But if we have a bunch of legendaries,
They're no
then
longer
it's
legendary.
no longer legendary. So it's kind of teaching you to just pick the one that you like instead of going for the rares. All right, reveal Mythic 1.
Okay, let's take a look at Mythic 1.
Ooh, okay, we got a Dread guy.
Little fishing pole.
Hambone Dread guy.
I like this little guy.
I
It's
like that
cool.
guy.
Yeah,
We
this
got the
guy's cool.
honker. We
That's
got
like dark, a little evil.
a little evil.
I love that the traits are broken down on the right here.
Yeah, it shows you all the
Yeah.
different
really
rarity
cool.
types for each one.
Exactly. So how many times it's been minted?
Oh,
Not
that's
so
so
bad.
useful.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
even though you don't know exactly, how things are going to go, at least you'll have a good enough guess.
You kind
So
of
that's
know
great.
what's being chosen so far and
Yes.
kind of calibrate. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yes, exactly. And then, oof, man, I'm scared. Let's go. Okay. All right.
I like that body though. The goo body's good.
great.
Yeah.
I like the goo body.
How many goo bodies have been minted?
40 have been minted. This wizard hat with the headshot, that's kind of fun.
I like that one.
a good
I like
beak.
that trait.
That with
That's
have you seen the Fidenza hat, Derek? by the
No.
way? Oh my gosh.
There's a Fidenza
Oh
hat?
my god.
I've only seen the Fidenza cloak.
The Fidenza hat's dope.
It's
Has
pretty
anyone
dope.
got the Fidenza hat and the Fidenza
It
cloak?
can't do it
It
because the
can't.
cloak has a hat already on it. 'cause
Oh,
it's,
that's
like,
right.
Over the
That
head.
makes sense. Yeah.
All right, guys, what should we do?
What's your vote?
Let's
Let me
start
see
with
what
Stevie.
let me see what the chat is saying.
Yeah, what's the chat saying?
I don't really
It's
see
easy to
anything.
go with the dark one because that is this is like kind of a tie for me.
Yeah, they're both pretty sweet.
They're both sweet in different ways, right?
Yes.
Like the dark one you can go for and always say like, okay, blacked out's always cooler, and it typically is. But then the blue one, that's like a sick body. The hat, I'm a so on the hat. He's been in battle. He's seen a little action. Didn't hit him, but he's been out there.
Shit. Everyone's saying number one.
Number
Is
one?
number
Even
one.
Justin Mazzell is saying,
He doesn't count.
yeah, what does he know? What does that guy know?
Should we throw a curveball and choose two?
Just to piss everyone off? I want to go. I mean, I want to have a conversation about you and your crazy glitch. Everyone is asking me to make sure that we talk about
All
that.
right, let's
So I
go
wanna
with
make
number
sure we
one
have
so that whoever gets
I'm
this
into
will
one.
be pissed at
I'm
us.
into one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into one.
Okay,
Two
so-
is a better PFP, but one is pretty cool.
Just tell me about one's got spunk. I like one.
Yeah, he is fishing though, which is, I don't know.
All right.
All right.
All right, we're gonna go. We're ready to choose.
Ready to choose.
We are gonna go with option 1. Let's go.
And
I
selecting
like
option
it.
1. There we go. Minting.
Let's go.
All right. So do you want to switch over to real quick? I know we don't have much time left for the show, but yeah, you want to talk about the glitch?
Yes, let's talk about the glitch. I'm gonna see if I can pull up a cool tweet about it.
Oh, cool! This is the OpenSea.
Yeah. So I opened it with Cirrus. I did a little
she's got
OpenSea. Yeah, it's up. It's up. There it is, right
it's
there.
up. Nice.
Yeah. So I used the OpenSea trade functionality, and
this is cool.
And hit Cirrus up on it, and was like, we went back and
There's
forth.
a squiggle in there.
Yeah, I know.
And ETH.
And
Listen,
ETH?
My
oh,
God.
yeah,
There's
there
4
it
ETH
is.
in there. Listen, it was a big trade, but there's only 6 of these glitches, and it's like, they rarely come up.
I like the glitch.
And I want to do glitch on glitch. That's the X copy background that
Yes.
can only be enabled if you own a Max Payne.
Yes.
So glitch on glitch for me felt really special. I wanted to have like one just really epic Moonbird.
Yes.
Like one of the rarest of the rare.
I will not lie. I have considered buying one of these glitches. This trade is goated.
It's goated.
I actually love the glitch birds.
Yeah.
This is cool, man. Congratulations. This
Dude.
just happened.
It happened yesterday, last night. Yeah.
Well done.
They
It
got
was-
some good mythics in there. Got a link.
It was insane to watch Kevin going back and forth between the different deals. He started off kind of light, and Cirrus was like, "Nah, no, thank you." And then he just kept adding to it, and then Cirrus is like, because he was like, "Throw squiggle in, and maybe we'll talk." And then you did, and then you got it. I mean, that's
Wow.
amazing. It's making me want to do one because I've always wanted a squiggle bird. So I think I might try to do that. Use that.
These trades are fun. Like right
Yeah.
now,
These are kinda
nobody
fun.
wants to part with a bunch of ETH, but we all have stuff that we'd like to change it up a little bit, you know?
Yes.
And like, why not do some crazy trades? Like,
Yeah.
let's have to get some new fresh PFPs or fresh NFTs in our wallets.
I like it.
I found a tweet from me in April saying, "I wish you could just trade NFTs for NFTs and just cut out this ETH middleman."
Oh, they copied
And
your
then
shit.
They stole my idea.
You gotta
God
sue
damn
them.
it!
You gotta sue 'em.
No, I'm just loving that it's possible. I kind of want to play around with it today. I'm gonna go throw some wild bids out today.
Do you
and just see
know?
what
I haven't
happens.
actually tried this yet. Do you know if they take a percentage of if there's a WETH bid that's part of it? Do they take a percentage of that?
Didn't see anything about that.
Okay.
No, I think it's just straight up trade.
Cool.
That is
Very-
interesting, though.
They're just like, use it however you want. Please just come
Yeah.
use our platform. I think
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what they're doing.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Good job, Kev.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
it's nice to have one that is just like, one of the rarest of the rare, which I had never had. I had a Firehead bird was the rarest I ever got because the prices shot up so fast.
Yep.
I wasn't really expecting them, so to go up that quickly. So yeah, this is great time to jump in.
Grail season. Let's go.
All right, well that was a fun show.
Yeah, it was.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday.
We got a lot done.
I like the new format. I like the stage.
Stage
I
is
like,
great.
I like Amanda right here where we can see her. We can see Mao too.
You like me
Mao's
all the
yelling
way
at
over-
us during the middle of the thing. Eli crushed the interview. This was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like Eli all the way in Canada. That's great.
Yeah, not too close.
Just kidding, man. I love
That
you.
was
Move
fun.
here.
That was a great
Move,
show.
move.
Yeah, awesome interview with Sam, by the way. Special thanks to Sam Spratt
Yeah.
for coming on the show, giving
Yeah.
us his time, especially before a big, unveiling and game that he has coming up, which
Yep.
is just really creative. All right, so that is it. Catch 100 Proof live Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific. Always live Friday. He had 4 shots of
It's
espresso
true.
in here today. I'm not kidding you.
It's true.
He may die after this episode. How do you do 4
We
shots?
got to do it. We taper down as time goes on.
That's
I'm
insane.
drinking matcha after 2:00.
There we go. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
And we're still here.
And we're still.